Hello and welcome to this video on Java data types. So what we're going to be going over here is something very basic, but if you don't know it, obviously it's not going to be basic to you. Let's jump right in and it's going to be a fairly short presentation. So we're going to firstly talk about variables. Variables basically, what are variables? Well, variables are nothing more but reserved memory locations that store values. These values being, you could have a string that could store your name, or you could have an integer that could store your age, things like that. So if you create a variable, you're just basically reserving space in memory. Based on the data type of that variable, the operating system will allocate memory and decide what can be stored in that reserved memory location. So therefore, we're going to go ahead and you'll see in previous and future videos how storing variables, we can assign different data types to different variables. So we can store integers, decimals, or characters in these variables. But we tend to come across in in the more straight and narrow, we come across two different data types which are available in Java, which I may have mentioned before, but if not, here they are. We have the primitive data types and reference object data types. Primitive data types, basically there's 8 primitive data types that are supported by Java, I think. I'm pretty sure right now that's the case. We never know what happens in the future. Technology is forever changing, so yeah. Primitive data types are just predefined by the language and named by a keyword. So let's have a look at some. We have byte, short, int, long, float, double, boolean, and char. Basically, all these have different minimum and maximum values. So byte has I think it's a -128 value with a -2 to the power of 7. Maximum is 127 inclusive. Default value in the byte is 0. You'll find that 0 is a default value for many types, but there is exceptions for things like char, which we'll show you soon. I think it's I can't remember what it is. I think it's like a 4-digit. I think it's numerical, which equals to 0 somehow. But I'll show you soon. Let's have a look. Here we are. Default values: byte 0, short 0, int 0, then long 0l, and we'll go into like lateral types soon. What we're going to talk about though right now is just like default values and how we can, default values for every particular data type, even the value for the minimum and maximum. So instead of going over all of these, just naming, me talking to you here and telling you how much you can store in a particular data type, the best bet is just to Google minimum maximum value of something like short, and I think short's -32,000 to 32,000. So yeah, have a look at that. You probably won't come across minimum and maximum values until you're in some sort of production environment where you have to worry about memory allocation to a point where every spare piece of memory counts. But do have a look, it's interesting. So then we come on to reference data types. Basically, reference data types are created using defined constructors of the class or classes, used to access objects, which we've shown briefly, but there's a video in this particular playlist or series, whatever you want to call it, that is very helpful when it comes to understanding how objects work. Then we have these variables that are declared, again, as an object that cannot be changed. So for example, we have employee, animal, and these variables, these reference types, are just pointing. So they're set on the stack and they're just pointing to the heap where the object's stored. Class objects and other array variables fall under reference data types. Default value of any reference variable is null. Next, we'll go into literals. Primitive types are special data types. So they're built into the language and they're not objects created from a class. A literal basically is just a source code representation of a value. So literals are represented in the code without requiring computation. It's possible to assign a literal to a variable of a primitive type, as shown in this table I put together. So again, more on literals here. There's a good documentation on the Oracle website. It's incredibly helpful. It's a bit long to be honest, if I included everything about literals in here, you'd get incredibly bored and just click off the video. So I just thought I'd link it there for you guys. So yeah, that's pretty much it on basic data types. Hopefully that made sense. I kind of wanted to go through it quick, so I was speaking very quickly. But yeah, hopefully you can wrap your head around this stuff, and we can move on to the more interesting stuff in the future videos. So yeah, if you have any questions, remember to tweet me at Carl Hadwin and to subscribe for more videos. And I really hope this was helpful. Thank you for taking the time to watch it, and I shall see you in the next video.